Next. Hey Dracokast, not sure if you're still doing the Dracokast stuff, but I'm saying this to you anyways. Yes, I'm sorry. This is so long ago. It's Amp again. I messaged you for your first podcast. I never got to thank you for your advice. It was really helpful. My boyfriend and I talked things out, and everything was great until today. This is a girl who was in a. Let me go find that message again. This was a girl who messaged me about how she was in a relationship with a guy, and they were like, there was like nothing really going on, but she just wasn't feeling it. So, like she said all these nice things about him, but and like I said that there was, I guess, no reason to break up with him. She just generally wasn't happy with their relationship. Okay, so let me go back to the message that I was actually responding to. Okay, so until today, everything was going good until today. I'm 17, he's 18, we're both still in high school. We have an art class together, and our teacher lets us use our phones to look up reference pictures for a drawing. My phone was in my locker, so I asked my boyfriend if I could use his to look up some pictures. After he gave me his phone, he was called down to the main office to take some sort of survey. Meanwhile, I was having trouble finding a good reference photo, but I remembered I'd sent my boyfriend a video over text that could be helpful with that problem, so I opened up his messaging app to find that video, and I found messages from another girl. Oh shit. I trust, or at least trusted, my boyfriend completely, but I could see the small bit of conversation they were having, so I opened up the text, and lo and behold, he was completely flirting with her. Oh god. He even asked her to hang out with him multiple times in many of the texts. I realized that the dates of those texts were on the exact days when I'd asked him to hang out, and he said he was busy with work, in quotes. He called her things like cutie and babe and sent her those just because I was thinking of you texts. Fuck! It was like I was in one of those Korean dramas, and I just broke down right there. Needless to say, I couldn't even get myself to look at him for the rest of the day. I just felt so stupid for being fooled into thinking he was a good guy. Oh my god. I am so sorry. Eventually lunch rolls around, and I'm doing my best to keep from crying by ignoring him, and you know who strolls up that moment to talk to my boyfriend? The girl he'd been texting. He knew I was upset over something, but the moment she came into the picture, he ignored me and only paid attention to her. It was like I'd been stabbed. I'm breaking up with him first thing tomorrow, and I'm doing my best to quickly move on, but I need to ask you if there's any sort of tips for healing with heartbreak, especially heartbreak due to a cheater. Oh god, this is awful. This is a mess. I'm sorry. This is really late. Maybe my advice isn't too late. Maybe it'll help a little bit. The best thing I can do, that I can tell you to do in this kind of a situation, is to not think about them at all. Focus on other things. Occupy your mind with other things. Occupy your time with other things. Because that's just the best way I have of dealing with it. I don't think there's like a set, like activity that you can do that will be best. Maybe there's like a hobby that you have that you can spend your time in. It's just, the thing I find that's best is when you're keeping yourself from thinking about that person. I mean, I guess this kind of deals with your problem that you had of not really feeling the relationship, I guess. But this is really sad that this happened in high school already cheating in high school. That's a bad sign. The fact that he ignores you as soon as she shows up, that's also a really, really bad sign. If you could follow up with an email and tell me how it went, if you guys have talked at all since then, what he said when you broke up with him, I'd really like to know. For more context. But yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Cheating is terrible. There's nothing you can really do about it. It's all their fault. It's all on him for failing to be loyal. So my best advice is to just not think about him. Move on. But hopefully it wasn't as bad because you just weren't really feeling the relationship anyways. And actually I have a special talk that I came up with about cheating that I'll do after I read this last letter. This podcast is going to be really fucking long, but that's fine. This is going to be perfectly relevant to you because it's going to be all about cheating and stuff. Cheating and cheaters. I guess I'm going to talk about it really soon because I'm about to read the last one. Oh, never mind. This is not even a letter. So yeah, that's a perfect segue into the next part where I'm going to talk about cheaters. This, I guess, gives better context than I could have come up with for this talk. One thing that's important when dealing with relationships is that you can never rule out the possibility that they're cheating on you. I mean, you should never be of the mentality, oh, he'd never cheat on me. That mindset is poison, and no amount of evidence can convince a person who thinks like this otherwise. But on the other hand, you should never rule out the possibility that you're just being paranoid. If you flat out ask if they're cheating, their reaction will tell you everything. If they get mad and yell, "No, how could you ever think that?" or anything that's very reactionary and overly defensive, they probably are. Especially watch if they start attacking you instead and deflect the issue. If they get hurt and seem concerned as to why you were why you think that, saying it like, "No, how could you ever think that?" instead, then they probably aren't. That's the key, is anger versus sadness. If they deny it, like, you can present them with evidence that you've accumulated, ask them to explain all these things you've noticed, and continue noting physical signs and their attitude. I want to give advice to prospective cheaters to hopefully prevent as many people as possible writing in with, "I just cheated and I feel like shit." And you should, if you cheat. Why do you think people try so hard to hide it when they do it or are doing it? If it was okay, you wouldn't feel the need to hide it. They know they shouldn't, yet a lot of people do it anyways. Alright, so let's back up a second. What is cheating? Cheating, also called infidelity, is a violation of a couple's assumed or stated agreement regarding emotional and or physical exclusivity. Relationships by default imply exclusivity. There are ones that don't, which are called like open relationships or something, which are non-monogamous, but those are rare. See, when someone wants to be in a relationship, it means they want to be exclusively intimate, physically and emotionally, with that one person. An important note is that it doesn't have to be physical to be infidelity. I mean, hell, it doesn't even have to be sex to be infidelity, but that's just the kind you hear about the most because it's the most shocking. Emotional affairs are so sneaky because they feel so innocent, just like friendships. But emotional affairs are cheating because you're giving something that by rights should be your partner's to someone else. Your heart. Oh, I just feel like I can tell him all the things I can't tell my boyfriend. Bitch, there shouldn't be anything that you feel that you need to hide from your boyfriend. If there is, then there's a problem. Oh, there's this new hot guy at work and I made out with him in the bathroom, but I can't tell my boyfriend about it. You fucking whore! You cheated on your boyfriend physically, and now you're emotionally cheating on him by telling someone else. Here's a less obvious example. I don't think my boyfriend is paying enough attention to me. Then you should be discussing it with your boyfriend and trying to work it out with him, not confiding in some other dude. Unless that dude happens to be your dad or something, of course. Cheaters are castigated for a reason, because cheating is a breach in trust. Your partner trusts you to be loyal while you're in a relationship with them. And hiding cheating from them is basically lying. Either directly or by omission. So it's like you're backstabbing them in two ways at the same time. And that's why infidelity ruins so many relationships. It's an act of betrayal. So there are two reasons people cheat. Women usually cheat because there are problems with the relationship or they're unhappy with it somehow. Men usually will cheat because there's an opportunity to. But of course, in both cases, it can be the other way around. Cheating in a relationship when there's nothing wrong is just selfish greed, and it's indefensible. Period. But the prior is also inexcusable. Let me explain. You should always try to sort things out with your significant other if there's anything you're unhappy about in a relationship. Communication is paramount in a relationship. I can't emphasize that point enough. If he's not paying attention to you, or you'd like as much attention to you as you'd like or something, let him know. Address issues and concerns as soon as possible before you become so unhappy that cheating starts to look appealing. Most of these issues can be worked out without resorting to cheating. If this doesn't work, still, don't cheat. Break up with your significant other first. Don't deal with them behind their back. Don't deceive them. Cheating is about as low as it gets. Cheaters are scum. Call things off with them before you start messing around with someone else. Yes, you'll probably hurt them, but guess what? They'll find out about you cheating sooner or later, and you'll hurt them a lot worse when that happens. Would you rather them catch you fucking someone else? Hell, you'll still be hurting them in the long run first, because signs will show up whether you want them to or not. Your relationship will suffer somehow. Don't waste any more of their life by messing with them. Set them down gently. It's cruel to do otherwise. If there are problems with your relationship, but you think there's even a remote possibility that there's a temptation there, avoid any situations that would make it easy. Hell, that's a good way to avoid cheating altogether. Never be alone with someone you flirted with, or any old flames, or anyone you can tell is into you or even wants to bang you. You'd be surprised how many instances of cheating happen when the person had no intention of it ever happening. We were just flirting at first, right? But one thing led to another, and boom! You feel like garbage hiding the least... You feel like garbage hiding the baggage of knowing that you betrayed your significant other's trust. Flirting is trying to get someone to like you, or at least interested in you. So why were you ever doing it with someone else in the first place? Oh, it was just innocent flirting. Flirting is only ever innocent when neither of you are in a relationship. If either or both of you are, there's nothing innocent about it anymore. Flirting is basically a lesser form of cheating. When this happens, a lot of people claim that it wasn't their fault. Oh, I didn't mean to text him 150 times yesterday. Oh, I didn't mean to meet up with her alone at her apartment. Oh, I didn't mean to talk to him alone in the bedroom at that party. See my point? See how ridiculous it sounds when you say it like that instead? Here's the truth. You set yourself up for it. You could have stopped it at any point. You let it get that far. Fact is, you shouldn't have done any of those things anyways if you're already in a serious relationship with someone else. Those things are all overstepping the bounds already. Unless you straight up got raped, you could have prevented it. And by the way, getting raped isn't cheating. Call 911 immediately if you were involved in non-consensual sex. But anyways, be very careful with like your male friends, ladies, when you're in a relationship. Because guys can be sharks. They will act innocent and platonic, but deep down they might not care if you are single or not, if they have a desire for you. The idea of a woman in a relationship having a bunch of close male friends is a recipe for disaster. Or any other close male friends who you spend too much time interacting with one-on-one. Listening to a guy who claims to be your friend but at the same time is attracted to you will encourage them to keep pushing the envelope until you do something you regret. If there's anyone who's overstepping those bounds even a little bit in any way, be it them staring at you, giving you dirty looks, inappropriate texts, anything, trust your gut here. Immediately tell them you have a problem with it and that they should stop. And that they need to stop, rather. If they do it even one more time, then you need to cut that cancer out of your life before it fucks up your relationship. That's what I call the 2-strike rule. Because if you clearly communicate to them that they need to stop after the first time and then they try to do it again anyways, they're just going to keep doing it because they think they can get away with it. Don't let them. Oh, and whether you tell or not. In fact, the guilt will probably be worse if you never tell your significant other, unless you have no soul. I've read stories about girls who cheated on their significant others and actually felt really happy about themselves for doing it. And these people are disgusting. Whether you tell them or not, your relationship is going to suffer. Period. I've heard of girls who got so self-conscious after cheating and not telling him that they couldn't even enjoy physical intimacy anymore. Tell them. You're doing so much damage by hiding it. They'll know deep down that something is wrong, and it drives them crazy slowly. And they have the right to know. Unless you have a legitimate reason to believe they might try to kill you. Even if you think you know he will leave you, then just tell him. It's the only thing you can do to make things right. Also, alcohol and drugs can make you do things you wouldn't have ever done otherwise. Don't let yourself get drunk. You can drink with a friend you trust so that they keep you from drinking too much. And if you need to, only do it with when your significant other is with you. There's just never a good excuse to cheat. Get out of the relationship before you decide to start messing with someone else. And if your relationship sucks, get out of it before you find someone else to try to justify the exit. And if you're in a sticky situation where you're really tempted to cheat, end the relationship and take some time to yourself instead to sort things out alone. Keep both parties that are involved at arm's length for a while. And no, I don't mean the kind where you break up with your significant other on the basis of needing time to yourself just to turn around and fuck someone else. Stay clear of a relationship or anything too emotionally intimate and do nothing more physically intimate than maybe hugging. Get your shit together before you decide what to do. And cheating just doesn't happen by accident. You made a choice and now you have to live with it for the rest of your life. The bottom line here is that cheating ruins relationships permanently. It's a stain that can never really be washed away. It will always be there, even if you think you'll be able to fix it. Breaches in trust are serious business. Trust is serious business. Trust is a lot easier to destroy than it is to build. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about cheating on somebody. And if you want to just mess around with whoever you want, don't waste the time of anyone who's seeking an exclusive, honest, one-on-one relationship. If you want to sleep around, relationships aren't for you. And to the cheaties out there, No, I have not forgotten you. Most of the time, the cheatee is just as much at fault as a cheater is. I don't give a fuck how badly your dick wants to be inside her, or how much you think you love her, or how great he makes you feel. If you are willfully enabling or even encouraging someone to cheat, you are also scum. There's a word for people like you, it's homewrecker. It's especially bad if the person being cheated on is someone you call your friend. Friends don't fuck their friend's girlfriend. Of course, if you legitimately had no idea she was in a relationship with someone, then it's not your fault. But that's why you figure that out ASAP. Make it a rule to never do somebody without knowing that if they're in a relationship first. Is what it amounts to. There's kind of a guy's code. Don't mess with your friend's girlfriend. Though unfortunately, still some people do it. If the guy doesn't know your boyfriend, though, he won't give a shit about him. He won't give a shit about respecting your relationship. He'll only want to get in your pants. Real men and women, ones with integrity, respect other people's relationships. They respect boundaries and refuse to overstep them. They refuse to allow taken people to overstep them. If someone in a relationship is coming onto you, tell them that you won't do shit with them until they're single. Oh, and exes. Exes can fuck things up hard. Some people who are immature children who see their ex with someone else and get super jealous. They're like a kid who loses interest in a toy, but then when they see another kid enjoying that toy, they just have to take it back. And they'll do anything that they can to get you back. Exes are called past flames for a reason. You wouldn't have been with them in the first place if there wasn't a flame there, and most flames never really extinguish for good, unless something really bad happened that ended it. If you weren't the one that ended it with your ex, you especially need to stay away from them, because you're the kind of person who's most vulnerable to giving into an old fling, or your ex returning to quote-unquote reclaim you. Some are delusional enough to accuse you of cheating on them just by being with someone else, even though you two had very clearly broken up. Those people in particular need to be avoided at all costs because they're the possessive, controlling types. Okay, so what if it's too late and your significant other cheated on you? Well, regardless of what some people like to repeat to make themselves feel good about their own decisions and empower themselves, once a cheater, always a cheater is definitely not a universal truth. And insta-dumping them when you find out isn't always right either. The idea is to assess a couple of factors to determine if you should dump them immediately. And these are my own that I came up with. The first is to think about how you found out. Did you see signs and have to confront them, or did they confess to you of their own volition? If they confessed of their own free will, then it's good that they did. Do they lie and deny it even though you know that they did it? Example, if you have actual empirical evidence of it. If they took extreme steps to hide something in an ongoing manner, that should put doubt in your mind. Did you walk in on them in the act? Did they say sorry when you did so? I mean, sorry in a case like this means more like sorry I got caught instead of sorry for cheating on you. The second is how many times it's happened. Was it once? Maybe you should give them a second chance and you can work through it. Was it several times? With several different partners? Nope. It's over. I don't know about you, but I find the thought of another guy plowing my girlfriend while I am to be disgusting. The third is see how they act. If they act angry and attack you for confronting or accusing them or something, then they probably aren't sorry about it, and that's probably all you need. and see if they take responsibility for themselves or blame you for it. Trying to defend or excuse or minimize their act means they're probably unhappy with the relationship anyways, and it's not worth it. But if they seem genuinely sorry and guilty, like i.e. actually saying sorry and sounding like they mean it, then don't write them off immediately. Of course, they could be faking this to manipulate you, and they aren't actually sorry, but that's why you look at other factors. And the fourth is to assess how deliberate the act seemed. Some people advocate cheaters not giving the details of what happened because it hurts the person you cheated on, but you really do need to know this, even if the truth hurts. Get the full story of everything that led up to the act. See if alcohol was involved. Did they have multiple opportunities to stop what was happening but didn't? How far did they let it go? Was the cheatee heavily manipulating them to do it? Was the cheater encouraging it? Was their meetup premeditated? Did it seem like they had the intention of doing something from the get-go? Or was it more unintentional, like something they never meant to happen? And the fifth is to see if the cheater is willing to see what steps the cheater is willing to take to ensure that there's no possibility of it ever happening again. What they should be willing to do is to cut any ties with the person they cheated on you with. Like block them on Facebook or ignore their texts and calls. Avoid seeing them in person as much as possible. If the cheatee willingly participated in it, then they're probably up for doing it again if they get the chance. They could be trying to get your significant other to break up with you altogether. If the cheater wants to know if they can still be friends with the cheatee, even still see them, then that's it. It's over. Because if they still want to continue interacting with them after that, it's just setting the stage for it to happen again. They're not willing to sacrifice that to preserve the sanctity of your relationship, so don't waste any more time on them. They have to make a choice. You or him or her. So after assessing those different factors, you can decide if you want to give them another chance and forgive them and work it through it, or just abandon ship. And if you do abandon ship, don't go back. That's a mistake that I've seen made countless times. Sometimes cheaters just didn't mean for it to happen and are truly sorry that they did it, and they really do love you and they really do want a second chance. Or they're just a dirty, disloyal slut who has no sense of loyalty and doesn't deserve your time and energy, much less your trust. And don't waste your time on anyone who doesn't respect what a relationship is supposed to be. And that's the bottom line. That's my big rant on cheating. I think I covered a lot of important things about it. I guess if you want advice on seeing the signs of cheating, I can help with that. But I kind of talked about it more in a general sense. I'd address cheaters, cheatees, and the victim. So yeah, I mean, this was not at all relevant to anime at all, but it was. I think it was pretty interesting. I mean, obviously this is kind of relevant to me. I did have cheating happen to me once, and it sucked a lot, but I'm over it, and I wanted to kind of help people with cheating or potential cheating in their lives, because cheating really does fucking ruin things really badly. So don't do it. And people out there if you're worth your weight in shit, you shouldn't be encouraging other people to cheat on their significant other with you either. 'Cause that's fucking low. But anyways, I think that about wraps up this podcast. It was fucking long. And I talked about a lot of shit and a lot of news. Let me see. What am I gonna do for my 6th song of the week? Hey, let's have a love-related one. Since we talked about cheaters, let's have a nice love-related one. I'm gonna do kind of my top 5 favorite Megumi Nakajima songs. Kind of top 5. It might be more. But I'm gonna do one for each podcast from now on until I'm done with my favorite Megumi Nakajima songs. They're not gonna be in a particular order. But the first one for this week will be Neko Nikki, which means Cat's Diary. Or Cat Diary. And, it's a really pretty and it's a simple song, but the lyrics are actually really good. I'll post a link to the English translation of the lyrics in the description, so you can look it up and see the translation as it's going. It sounds simple at first, but there's a lot of hidden depth to this song, and it sounds beautiful. Megumi Nakajima singing as Ronka in the song is fucking amazing. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did, or as much as I do. So without further ado, if you want to send me emails, that's dracokast@gmail.com, and it will definitely not be so long as last time for me to get back to you. That's Dracokast, DRACOKAST @gmail.com. Thanks to the people who did email me, and I'm really sorry to the people that I kind of left in the cold that were asking for advice. But I'm going to do my podcast more regularly now, and please let me know what you think of my podcast in the description or in the comments so I have more motivation to do it. I like having positive feedback. So without further ado, this has been Draconis March signing off.
水曜おはよう何月何日晴れ光は水色匂い猫の日記にはお昼寝の回数が書いてあるブランコの日記には今日の加速度や飛び立つ夢書いてある時計の日記には愛しい人が何度見てくれたか書いてあるそれなら私の唇の日記にはあなたの名前何回読んだか書いてある 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 を夢